Here's a specific question for you. If I'm in the process of going through a separation or divorce and I'm being told my spousal support payment is going to be X, the lawyer I'm working with, they're telling me that's going to be deducted from my income. So let's say I make $200,000 a year, I'm going to be paying $100,000 a year in spousal support. I'm left with $100,000 a year of income after on my tax return. So my tax return says I have $100,000 of income. Is that what I have when I come to you to qualify for a mortgage?
No, actually, because we look at that $100,000 that you're paying out every year. And so we look at your $200,000 of income and say, okay, you're paying, I'm sorry, you should have used even numbers. Let's say $8,300 a month in payments that you're making. So even though you're getting that tax deduction, and you're not paying tax on that $8,300, your ex-spouse is paying the tax on the $8,300. The disadvantage is that we're using $200,000 of income with an $8,300 a month payment. And why that does, that basically means you're not going to qualify for a mortgage.
But it's a spousal support payment. It's tax deductible.
It doesn't matter. We don't remove it from your total income.
So you're telling me the lender treats that like a car payment?
Basically. So you've got one fancy car for $8,300 a month. So how do you offset that? If your ex-partner, or the marital home that you had, one of the things that you can do is perhaps to do a lump sum from the sale proceeds of the house or from some of your investments to do a spousal buyout, is what we call it.
So
where you're buying out that, using a lump sum to pay that up front instead of making a monthly payment for that.
So yeah, if the spousal support payment situation was going to be 5 years and it was going to be $100,000 a year, there's a formula that the lawyers will use for an actual, it's not a straight line mathematical answer, but they'll give me the option potentially of a lump sum payment rather than the ongoing, and the lump sum payment just takes it all out, and if I can afford to do that, then I come to the table with $200,000 of income to qualify for a mortgage with no problems.
Exactly. And you may have less money towards down payment, but at least you'll qualify to buy something. Yeah. If you show up and you've got this large payment, you're not qualifying for zero. I feel like that's
a thing that a lot of people must trip over. They must get their separation agreement signed, sealed, everything's done. They're like, okay, I have this amount of income after tax. It's being treated as a deduction, and they come to their mortgage broker and they're told they can't do a thing.
Yeah, the banks don't deduct it from your income, which they did back in the day. No longer they do. And also, I mean, just from a practical point of view, if you've got those $8,300 a month payment over 5 years, that's a significant amount of money on a monthly basis. And that amount you are still paying out of your post-tax. Because you're getting your paycheck, you're getting a $200,000 paycheck. They're taking those taxes at source from your employer. And so you're paying that $8,300 out of your whatever you're getting from your employer.
True, yeah.
So you're also in the negative cash flow that way. You get that tax refund at the end of the year, but it doesn't help you with a cash flow on a monthly basis.
You're right. I hadn't considered that because an individual in that situation they're waiting for that tax return at the end of the year. So that first year is really going to be
very
tight.
Difficult. Yeah. Yeah. And you're paying out that payment, and what happens in the first 5 years if you get sick, if you lose your job or anything like that, you still have to pay that spousal support despite how your financial situation will change in those 5 years. Child support will adjust according to your financial situation every year, whereas spousal support is, that's it, you've got to pay that regardless of whether you have your job or not.
Yeah, I feel like this is the moment where people viewing pause and think, whoa, like there's very serious financial implications all the way around on this, including, again, in the Vancouver real estate market, the number one concern really has to be for a lot of people, where am I going to live? So again, not to belabor the point, but the conversation with the mortgage broker is crucial early on in those negotiations, because is it going to be a lump sum buyout or a monthly payment, or is there a percentage? Is there a partial buy down? and to get that payment into a ratio where it works.
Absolutely.